Hello, everyone. This is Laura Johnson, and we are with Hummingbird Wealth Management. And today we have Zach Davis from the Fort MMA. Zach and his company are one of the winners in the Best of Frederick series. Zach, what is it? What category did you guys win in that?
We won Best Martial Arts Studio in Frederick for 2021.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a great honor. So we're here interviewing Zach and to learn more about him and learn a little bit more about the fort. So Zach, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the company?
Yeah, well, awesome. So I appreciate you having me on. I was excited about the award and I'm excited to chat about the company. But yeah, so I loved martial arts growing up. You know, I did a lot of wrestling, and as soon as I finished high school, I wanted to keep doing it. And that's where I found Brazilian jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, and kickboxing. And so I was doing that, really while I was in college. I was getting my degree, but my main thing I loved was still doing martial arts. And so as soon as college ended, I just wanted to, let's try to do as much martial arts as we can and get a real job eventually. And so I competed in mixed martial arts, and I kept doing better and better. I eventually made it professional, and I fought with the UFC for a couple fights. And I actually injured my eye. And so at that point, I had to kind of stop, and I was thinking, all right, I guess I got to get a real job now, put my college degree to use. And I tried a couple, and they were terrible. They were really awful jobs. And so I ended up working with Danny Farrar from Soldier Fit, and we partnered up to create a martial arts school, the Fort MMA. So we've been doing that the past 8 years. It's grown to the point now where we just won Best of Frederick. Soldier Fit is doing awesome. They're doing franchising. We recently just purchased the martial arts, and so it's become its own independent thing. Soldier Fit's awesome. They've continued to grow in the boot camp fitness industry, and we're starting to grow in the martial arts industry. So it made sense to become its own entity. And so just as the beginning of this year, the Fort MMA is its own thing. It has some new challenges to it, and I'm pretty excited, but it's been a blast. So I've been teaching martial arts. I'm 38 now, believe it or not, and I've been teaching martial arts almost 20 years now. So I'm excited for what the future holds.
Yeah, awesome. I think my son, I don't know if you guys offered some classes, I think through Frederick Community College at some point. Did you do that?
There were some self-defense classes over there. We've tried a lot of different things. We've done, self-defense for companies, we did a big one for FCPS. So we like getting different groups of people in. It's always a different environment when we bring them in. We had real estate agents come in, and they have their own whole self-defense stuff that they're going in strange houses with strange people. So they all had their questions. And so it's just fun getting to see different people and kind of help them work through some of those things.
That's cool to know that that's something that you offer, because in my industry as well, and I won't get deep into the story, but I would go to people's houses in the middle of nowhere that I'd never met before at late hours of the day. And I actually had one experience where I was like, what am I doing? And that's when I realized maybe I need to stop doing that. So that's good to know that that's something that you would do for professionals.
Sometimes you got to take a step back and, like you said, hang on, look at just the facts. I'm in a strange house, somebody I don't know, and no one knows I'm here.
Yeah.
And so then we usually kind of try to work back and be like, okay, maybe at least I can make sure I bring a friend, make sure someone knows I'm here. Go at a time and you can never be 100% safe, but you can always kind of find ways to make it so you're not the easiest victim out there.
Yeah, I don't want to be the easiest victim. So, I mean, I guess you told me a little bit about why it is you decided to start the business. If there's anything you want to elaborate on there, that's great. But tell me a little bit about what services, and I call them services because that's just what I do. But what is it you provide through your business? What is it you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, what we actually do is we teach martial arts. We teach kids, 4-year-old, I have a 4-year-old, he's in the program, all the way up. I think we got 65 right now is my oldest student, somewhere around there.
Oh, wow.
And so we teach all ages. And so I would teach Brazilian jiu-jitsu, self-defense, keep people in shape. But really what I've realized over time is what we're actually doing is building people up. And so people come in, they're just looking for something, whether it's friends, a community, relationships to build. And so the fitness and martial arts kind of gets them in there. And it's something, it is a very fulfilling thing. It's difficult to do. And people start getting built up. And that's the exciting thing to me, I've realized over time, is it's not necessarily always about, who's bringing home a medal and who's the baddest in the room. It's a lot of times it's about, people coming in with certain things they're dealing with in the martial arts and building themselves up. They start to build up confidence and self-respect. And then they're able to take on things they weren't before. And so that's always what's exciting for me now, is building up my students from where they started and then where they go. And it's very exciting because I get to be surrounded by, I think we're just over 200 students now. So 200 people every day that are improved versions of themselves. And they're always so excited to be there. So I feel like I'm gaming the system because I get to be around people who are excited to be there all the time, that are growing. And just with that, then they're all excited to build each other up. It's really something special.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know COVID has brought to the forefront, mental health issues for sure. And one of the things I recognize, I've been on the mat side and seeing you guys in action. And it's just amazing to me, the different skill levels and the different ages. And it really, makes me reflect on, why are people here? And much like the gym side, the MMA side, you have a brotherhood and a sisterhood of support. And it's just pretty awesome to witness and watch. So very cool.
Yeah, it's important for me. I always like is that we have the kids first. And, the younger the kids are, the more transparent their issues are. They're getting frustrated because they lost a race. And you go up, we have the kids who are like 8 to 9 and then 10 to 13. They have the same issues. They just come out differently. And then we get into the adults and you can see it. They're frustrated with their work. And it's the same thing the 4-year-old was dealing with. But you can just see it every single day. I see it where everyone's dealing with their own stuff. And the good thing is the martial arts kind of distracts you from a lot of the stress of the world, even just for a little bit. So I see some people, they got whatever life has thrown at them. And even if it's just for an hour, they have to think about hitting the pads, working the bags, learning the move. And by the end of the hour, their anxiety is down. They feel a little bit better. And then they can face the rest of their problems just a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I had one trainer ask me one time, why are you here? And it was in the middle of a workout. And so I'd imagine you probably get a little bit of this too. And I think his expectation was I was going to answer to get in better shape and healthier, which obviously is part of it. And self-defense, you're doing that as well. And I said, I'm here to forget everything. And it was just, I think it was a shock coming out of my mouth, but it was a shock to that trainer as well. But that's the reality. A lot of people come to you to not only learn self-defense and get healthier, but also to exit the reality of their world and focus on themselves, which is so awesome. So 200 students, are you doing this all by yourself or do you have a staff?
We have a whole team. And
Okay.
just on what you said, I noticed it with anybody that does something challenging, whether it's snowboarding or surfing or, working on a craft even, you know what I mean? If it's challenging, you have to kind of lose yourself in the task. And so just for the time you're working on the challenge, trying to figure it out, your brain can't even function on anything else. And it just gives you a breath of air. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is and I even thought about this as we were taking this on recently, business owner it's a new challenge for me. And so I feel like I've gotten pretty high level in the actual martial arts themselves. So I'm still working on those every day, always trying to get better. But working on ownership is a new challenge. And I try to keep it that way, think of it that way rather than it's, obstacles and struggles. It's a new challenge every day. And so with that, we do have a whole team there. We have fantastic instructors. And it's exciting to try to work to manage the leaders. Sometimes when you're small enough, you can be the one in charge of everything. And we've reached the point now where it's just no longer feasible. And so now we have to inspire the other instructors to become leaders. And the great news is they're all stepping up. They're all awesome at it. A lot of them are black belts. And so they already have worked up the ladder and they're ready and they're actually excited to take on some of those leadership roles. So it's been really cool for me. Sometimes you got to let go of some things and then let the other leaders will start to naturally emerge. And it's made my life a lot better. And so I'm very excited with the team that we have over there.
You know, it's interesting you should say all that because, you know, I started my company as me, myself, and I. That was the team.
Yeah, all three of them.
Slowly have grown to now we're a team of 4, about to be a team of 5. And I will tell you that if my one piece of advice is for other business owners is be humble and be humble. And always know where you came from in that being humble, but also be humble in that you don't know everything. And while you run the company and you own the company and you have the final say on the company, listening to the people around you about what's going on is so very valuable because they are sometimes more in touch with your clients in your business than sometimes you are. And I find that we, the community of business owners, tend to kind of get into that, you know, the mindset, well, I need to do this and I need to do that without listening to being quiet and listening is so very valuable. You ultimately might make the same decisions you were going to make, but you're making them from an educated standpoint. And then you're also bringing value to your team because your team feels like they're being heard and they're much more of an advocate for you, knowing that they're a vital part of all of that. So I just thought you seemed to have thoughts on that.
I have a partner, Mike Perry. He's fantastic. He's also been a martial artist for like 30 years. And his input, usually I'm kind of like the person with lofty ideas, like we should do this, we should do that. And he's fantastic at, you know, keeping an eye on what's going on. And then he highlights in a good way, a lot of the weaknesses I have where I might not remember, you know, I just, you know, if that email went out or if the schedule's been released or, you know, I just couldn't even remember the bank account information the other day. And so he's very good at that. And so what I've started to learn is how those balance out where people will figure out their role where these things you're much stronger at, these I'm much stronger at, and you start to get there. And even like you were saying, sometimes they have a better idea of what's going on. One thing I realize is I'm so positive that a lot of people wouldn't want to talk to me about the negative things going on, right? And so if you have other people that are trustworthy, that people trust and have rapport with, you know, they will get a different story of what's going on. And if you never get that, you're blind. So it's been very, very helpful. Not having to be the one person on top, is having a team that handles it.
Yeah, knowing where you came from and who's been helping you is very very helpful. So talking about all that positive, so tell me a little bit about some of the obstacles that you have faced along the way in building your business.
I mean, there's been a lot. I mean, even just the initial step, like we had a nice safety shelter working underneath another organization. I mean, that helped during Corona because, you know, if the business went under, it wasn't really mine. I wasn't going to take the big fall. And so stepping into that responsibility role where you're signing your name and, you know, you're investing in it it takes fortitude. Some people have, you know, they're very confident with it. Some people are super scared about it, but working your way to where you're comfortable with that decision, I think was very big. And then I think even getting to the point where you want to know everything that's going on, you want to know every detail, but at some point you can't keep track of everything. You have to delegate. I think that's been an important one, but as I do more of it, I'm happier and happier that I did. It makes life easier. It makes it easier to sleep. It makes everything easier.
I was going to say that's a mistake a lot of owners make. They're so protective and put a bubble around everything as if I give this away and delegate. And I struggle with this. I'm laughing because none of my staff is here to listen to this interview as it's happening. They keep telling me you need to learn the word no, and I'm like, okay, no. And that's part of my delegation responsibilities as well. So yeah, that's a struggle for many, but you're right. When you find the right person and the right strategies and processes to be able to give that up, it does make things a lot easier, both professionally and personally. You mentioned sleep. That's, yeah, that's
But
something I struggle with.
I know every business will reach like a certain point where you can only do so much. And if you want to grow and you're the only one doing it, you just have to, squeeze blood from a stone. You have to just do more yourself. And
Yeah.
until you start delegating, you can't break through that next level.
So speaking of growth, tell me, what are some of the things that you do in order to attract clients to your business?
Yeah, I mean, with what we're doing, the biggest thing is always referrals, right? So if we're giving our students a very good experience, then they want to share it. And the cool thing with martial arts is that just by its nature, people kind of want to talk about what they do. They're like, yeah, I was sparring yesterday, I was doing jujitsu, and it starts to grow. The other kind of with that is the social media aspect, where you just got to let people know martial arts is kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
People just assume like, oh, do I have to get punched on the first day? And when you can see, and that's what I think of social media is kind of a window into what you're doing, is you can see that it's kids playing around. You can see that there's teenagers who are awkward and trying their best. There's a smaller female, and there's, someone that's overweight, and they're all trying to do the same thing. And so, from the outside, and that does happen a lot where people project, everyone's in the best shape. Everyone's a killer. Everyone's, an athlete. And so everybody else is like, man, the guy on the poster is is way more intense than I am. And so what I think the important thing is to let people know that it's accessible. And the people that need martial arts the most are the ones who aren't already there. If you're already in great shape, if you're already super confident, if you're already, a badass, like, then you've already got it. You've checked those off. You should go do something else. Right. But martial arts is actually for those people who need those. So we use social media and referrals is a big way. Now we're playing with a lot of different things about putting out, online, advertisements and experiment with flyers and all those. But the biggest thing is word of mouth, referrals, and social media, which are all kind of the same thing.
Kind of all fall in the same boat. So is there anything else that you want to share? Anything that nobody knows about you that you want to make sure that we do know?
Man, that's a good one. I don't know. I think it's kind of almost a contradiction running the martial arts, where, martial arts is usually building with this fighting and confrontational, but my whole thing is I'm about as friendly and sociable as someone can be. And so, and I think that comes a lot from the martial arts, is that if you do all that all the time, there's always someone who's going to beat you up. The cool thing with martial arts is there's always someone better. And it's not like you can kid yourself. Somebody's clearly better that day. Right. Yeah. And so it keeps your ego nice and at a healthy level. Right. In the same way, if you get too down on yourself, you come back, you feel better about martial arts, it floats you back up. So everybody does the martial arts has this kind of cool ego, and that's why it's such a cool group to hang out with. But yeah, a lot of people will see martial arts and think of it as aggressive or confrontational, but the truth is it's very team oriented and friendly. It's one of the environments that's more that way than I've found anywhere else.
Yeah. So I didn't mention in this recorded part of the interview, but so I have owned my company for 10 years, but I've been in the business for over 30 years. And I am a strong believer that we should mentor others and share information with others. I find a lot of the things that I've gone through in operating my business are valuable pieces of information, no matter what kind of business. So like when I was sharing with you, being humble and listening to the people around you, those little nuggets of information can sometimes be very valuable. And especially when people hear them from someone who's successful. And so I guess you are successful. You made it to the best of Frederick for 2021. Is there any nugget or pieces of information that you would want to share with other business owners that are maybe struggling out there?
Great question. Yeah, I guess, to me, there's a couple there. There's one, if you give more, then it will slowly return back to you. And it's hard if you're kind of counting. I think it's if you worked hourly, you're used to, like, I've worked 6 hours a day. I get paid for 6 hours, and you kind of have to have a mindset change.
Yep.
Of course, you want to make sure eventually that what you're doing is effective. But if you are helping people, bringing people in, doing this, something for the community, eventually people will just know you more, and it will be paid back to you. If your intentions are good, then it will be paid back to you. And so I think just kind of having that attitude that you're giving more would be probably the number one I would do. And then with that, you're talking about sharing, and helping each other, is, I think that being very competitive like that is kind of a scarcity complex, that there's a lot of people in Frederick and beyond, and there's a lot of people moving in, and you shouldn't be competing specifically with, the person right next to you, because there's plenty of business out there if you're offering a quality product. And so I think avoiding that scarcity complex, there's a lot to be had out there.
Yeah. A lot of what you just said resonates with me. I'm a true believer in the golden rule, treat others as you want to be treated. And, there's a statement in BNI, it's called giver's gain. What you give, you will receive and get back. My whole life has been like that. Is I don't give to receive, I give to give. But what you said definitely resonates with me, in that people know that about me, and it makes me a much more approachable, much more comfortable person to work with. Even if I am not somebody you're going to end up working with, I'm somebody you trust and like. And so I think that all of that kind of builds into it for sure. So, and what you said about, what's that?
I've thought about that a lot. I was going to say is if you're a giving person, people, I think they know when they invest in you, whether it's their time, their energy, come to your event, do your thing. If they see that you are giving it back out to the community, they realize that it's not stopping with you. It's not, you're not a void where, and whatever it is, even if it's just energy invested in you, that you're going to use it and get rid of it. Right. But that you pay it forward. I think other people, without even knowing it subconsciously, they recognize that, and so then they're willing to invest time and energy into whoever is being a giving person.
And it's about doing it naturally and not pounding your chest and letting the world know that you're doing it. Just do it. The most frustrating thing I've seen on social media is, look what I did today. And it's like, well, you didn't really need to tell us. I think just by your actions, we're going to know. And I think the repetitiveness of your actions. But also in marketing, from a business standpoint, it's good to let people know what you do. I've been told that a million times. People don't know that you're involved, Laura, in ABC and 1, 2, 3. And it's like, yeah, it's not why I do it, but okay.
I think if you can use it, I think that the sweet spot is finding a spot to inspire others to do. So either you're modeling, a giving attitude, you're raising awareness for something you care about, or you're inviting others. And people can feel that if it's authentic. If it's made up, then they'll feel that too. So if you're giving for a good reason, you're trying to raise awareness for something that you care about, I think people know the difference. Yeah.
And obviously this is all about, promoting you. And I have had people ask me, well, why are you doing this? And I'm like, why not? I mean, I get the opportunity to have one-on-one conversations with business owners, which is extremely helpful and inspiring to me. But I feel as though Frederick offers such a tremendous set of resources in the form of businesses and governments and all kinds of community, what we were just talking about. And there's a lot of well-kept secrets. And being best of Frederick, you would think you're not a well-kept secret, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who have not heard of Zach Davis and the Fort. And so that's why we're doing this today. And so thank you again, Zach. I really appreciate you taking the time. Anyone who's interested in learning more about the Fort can reach out to Zach. What's the best way for people to find you?
Facebook is a nice, easy way to do it. If you find me on Facebook, the Fort MMA or Zach Davis, and I can send you the contact information for the tag for this one.
Okay, sounds awesome. Well, thanks again. And we will be doing several interviews like this with other members of the business community. So on the lookout for all those videos. We'll be posting them on our social media page, which is Hummingbird Wealth. And you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.